Thank you for watching Let the Prophet Speak. I've absolutely enjoyed coming into your homes and spending time with you. I hope it has been a great experience for you because it has been an awesome experience for me. I need to ask you a favor. If you have enjoyed Let the Prophet Speak, if you've been educated, trained, if it has enhanced your life, if you've learned something about your giftings, I need to know it. If you watch me on my YouTube channel, I need you to send me an email, contact me by Facebook, Twitter. Let me know that you're benefiting from Let the Prophet Speak. It is a training tool to help any person that's flowing in the gifts or have the ascension gift calling or the grace gifts. I want to empower and enhance your life, show you how to take it to the marketplace, make it very relevant. But I need your financial support to remain on the air. It costs an average of $750 per month to air Let the Prophet Speak in Panama City, Florida, as well as Tallahassee, Florida. For many of you, that may not seem like a large amount of money, but the cost of running that broadcast from month to month, year to year, can be overwhelming with all of the other expenses that we incur while we're producing books and giving away cruises and trips to people that are fighting cancer, or single mothers buying clothes for the kids to go back to school, giving away cars and scholarships to college students. So we appreciate any amount that you can give, from $5 to $500. We will appreciate your love offering. Once again, thank you for watching Let the Prophet Speak. I love you more than words could possibly say. Appreciate the viewers, and I would just like to know who you are. I'm waiting to hear from you. Thanks for watching Let the Prophet Speak.
God can do anything more than we can ask or think, more than we can imagine in our wildest dreams. Thank you, Lord, by your blood I have been redeemed. In your mercy you kept me. Who wouldn't let my enemies triumph over me to make me praise a testimony?
The next symbolism or symbol that we're going to talk about is the cobra. I kept seeing this cobra, and the cobra standing up on its tail. Ever since January 10th, I started seeing this cobra. And the Lord started speaking to me and saying to me, you've seen this before. At first it was kind of foggy and I couldn't get it to come clear, and I kept thinking and praying and saying, there's a spirit behind this, but I can't see what this is. And I think maybe around the third time I was praying about it, and he spoke to me and said, you've seen this before. I responded back, and this is how the Lord and I dialogue with each other. A conversation. That's how prayer should be. Just a conversation. You're talking to him, he's talking to you. If I'm not careful, I'll talk out loud and have to tell the person, oh, I'm not talking to you. And if I'm being real spiritual, I'll say I'm talking to God. If they don't know God, I'll just say I'm talking to myself, because he's a part of me and I'm a part of him. But I said to him, Lord, where have I seen this? And he took me all the way back. He said, look at your childhood. And he took me to the Word. Joseph dealt with jealousy when it came to his siblings. You saw that among your siblings growing up. Joseph dealt with jealousy when he went to Potiphar's house. You've seen that, where people were jealous of you on jobs. They were jealous of you in the classroom. You've seen this spirit before. It is jealousy. And I didn't allow you to run from this spirit. I told you that this spirit is all about being blessed, to be envied. And anytime you're blessed, it means to be envied. People are going to envy how God uses you. Do not let that hinder you. His brothers were jealous over the fact that he had a dream. Joseph. His brothers were jealous because he was the child of his father's old age. His father loved him, gave him a coat of many colors. Jealousy. Jealousy is par for the course if you are anointed. Jealousy is par for the course if you are gifted. Jealousy is par for the course if you're favored of the Lord. Expect jealousy. God spoke to me. The Lord spoke to me. Jesus, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, I allowed it. He began to tell me, I allowed it, and I didn't allow your children to run from it. There were children that were jealous when I had an academy, and I was going to put my children in another academy. And the Lord spoke to me and said, I didn't let you run, and I'm not going to train them to run. They have to stand up and face it and let me grace it. You can't do anything about someone else being jealous, but you cannot allow that to hinder you or cause you to dumb down or back up because of their insecurities. So the cobra represents a spirit of jealousy that will rear its ugly head during this season. You're under attack by the spirit of jealousy. When that hood comes out, cobras are territorial. So the jealous spirit works this way. I feel that you're getting something that I'm entitled to. You're leading a song that I should be leading. You're in a dance and they gave you credit for the dance and they didn't give me credit. I'm entitled to those accolades, and I feel like you shouldn't get them, and I not get the same thing. I feel I'm entitled to the recognition that this person is getting. I feel that she called Jackie's name about prophetic intercession. I flow in prophetic intercession also. She called Devon's name praising and singing, but what was I doing before she came? Jealousy works that way. Why wasn't I recognized? It's a spirit of entitlement, that I feel entitled to something that someone else is getting, and as a result of it, I'm venomous. I will attack that person's credibility. I will attack that person emotionally, spiritually. I will attack their character because I feel that they are getting something that I'm entitled to. Jealous, they bought a new car. You have a new car. But the fact that they have one and people are paying attention to theirs. Jealous, they're getting a new home. But I can get a home too. Jealousy acts that way. You're throwing off because you feel threatened by what someone else has. Whether it's tangible or if it's swelling accolades, compliments, you feel threatened by someone else's success. Then someone else sees them, where we have to look at it in terms of promotion comes from God. So the attack is these various spirits. The cobra, which is jealousy. The rattlesnake, which is deadly thoughts. Territorial. Look for people that will attack you when it comes to friendship. This is my friend. I don't know why you have to go out with them. You threaten every time that person calls, if they go out with them, if they sit next to them. Your fear of they may get closer to them than you, or they may no longer like you, or they may no longer feel or value you. It stems out of your own hang-ups and insecurities. Fight that. Do not surrender to it because it is deadly. Jealousy is as cruel as the grave, the Bible says. What does that mean? Once you're in there, that grave holds you. Jealousy holds you. So therefore, do not get caught in its grip. How many of you have ever buried someone that you love? Journey on. How many of you have ever gone through heartbreak? Journey on. How many of you have ever experienced an unwanted divorce? Journey on. How many of you have ever lost a dream? What you dreamed of doing all your life? Journey on. How many of you have ever lost a home through bankruptcy, foreclosure, whatever reason? I say to you, journey on. How many of you have ever lost a job? Either you were laid off or fired. Journey on. Having to reinvent yourself. Yes. Menopause made me reinvent myself. Having children made me reinvent myself. Getting married, I had to reinvent myself. When I stopped teaching and went into full-time ministry, I had to reinvent myself. So life is filled with swift transitions. It's filled with change. So we have to reinvent ourselves and journey on. Journey on. Journey on.
Journey On has been released and is receiving rave reviews from professionals across several fields. Judge Hubert Grimes says Dr-Vernette-Rosier uses her own life story to not only testify of the multiple seasons of pain in her life, but uses her experiences to bring hope and deliverance to the reader who may have had or is experiencing similar issues. Therapist Winona Allen says, as a counselor, I was ecstatic about the clinical research and the high intensity of grief work being done in this book, Journey On. Dr. Dolores Peace says, Dr. Rosier helps us to understand our humanity and the need to address what happens to us as individuals when we grieve. Don't avoid pain. Do the grief work and use this book to help you do the work necessary to grieve in a healthy manner. To place your order, visit our website, vyrosierministries.org, or you can contact us via phone at 810-DREAM-08.
Jealousy is a green-eyed monster. It can destroy you. Jealousy makes you territorial. Jealousy makes you controlling. Jealousy makes you manipulate people because you're jealous. It makes you control them, but out of fear. So it also stems out of fear. I'm afraid of what I may lose. So a jealous individual, you can't talk to anybody else. You can't spend time with anybody else. They have to tell you how to dress, what to say, where you can sit, and it just keeps going. And it does not give up easily. So watch for the battle, the fight, because it is a war going on. The spirit of jealousy is warring to possess you. The rattlesnake, the deadly thoughts are warring to possess you. So if he can get you thinking deadly thoughts, he can get you to destroy yourself. The war is against your self-image. All of those spirits are aimed at getting you to destroy you. A jealous person is an unhappy person. A person with deadly thoughts normally spit out venomous words and have a venomous conversation. They're not necessarily pleasant to be around. Their words are deadly. They prophetically represent, when they're showing up, watch for it. And many of you, how many of you have seen that in this season? Either a rattlesnake or a cobra. Hands up. Either a rattlesnake or a cobra. How many of you paid attention to it and its meaning? You're in a battle, make no mistake about it. Don't just lie down to it and surrender and say, well, okay, I'm just feeling this way. Immediately recognize, no, this is the enemy. This is the year of freedom from bondage. The enemy is trying to take me back into bondage. Jealousy is bondage. Deadly thoughts is bondage when you're always walking around with thoughts that have the potential to kill you. The last thing I saw, I was on my way to Atlanta to check on my daughter-in-law and my son. Were in war and warring for her health, who is battling with cancer. We were believing God for a miracle. And on my way there, I think I had stopped at a traffic light. I took a different route, a route that I've never taken. I picked up my grandson, David Antonio, in Enterprise. And my navigational system took me these back wooded roads up through Tuskegee. Back roads through some town that I've never heard of. I can't name the other towns because I've never heard of them. The first time I reached one that I heard of was Tuskegee. And I hadn't been there in maybe 20 years, if not longer. And I stopped at a stop sign. There was really no lights. It was just very, very wooded. I mean, the wilderness. I was surprised that they built a road in the wilderness. That's literally what it was, a road in the wilderness. And I stopped at a four-way stop. And when I stopped, this massive horse rode across the road. I instantly went out of the natural and went into the spirit realm. And I'm seeing what is transpiring in the spirit. This massive horse that was so huge, if I had to measure him from the floor to the top of this ceiling. He was a massive horse. He looked like in the natural, the only horse I could compare it to with was much larger than that was a Clydesdale. I saw these massive hoofs that are on the horse. And as he was lifting his hoof, I saw this hair dropping from it, and I'm almost frightened because I'm thinking if this hoof hits this car, it could crush this car. It's so massive. And immediately I started praying, Lord, why is this thing here? What is this? It was so huge I couldn't see up on top of it, but I was aware that there was a rider on this horse. And as I was looking at these massive hoofs, And he wasn't running, he just lifted those hoofs, and fear came over me momentarily. And as it took me immediately into intercession, and as I'm praying, God, why is he here? Am I in any danger? Should I turn around? I have my grandson in this car with me, who's a prophet also, that I saw it when he was in his mother's womb. His father's a prophet, he's a son of a prophet. Why is this here? And instantly, I was aware through word of knowledge that there was a rider on that horse. And I couldn't see the rider, but I could see the horse from the ground, and the horse had red eyes, but he had these steel blinders on him. I knew the blinders from my grandfather plowing a horse growing up in the country. He had these blinders on him, and it looks like a piece of steel, a steel mask that looked like it had a horn that came out of the front of his head. And I heard the term war horse. He was a war horse. He was fierce. It was frightening to look upon, but this was a war horse that came across in front of me for me to see that he was there for war. But I wasn't in danger. I was not in danger, but he was making me aware of the war that was going on in that region, the war that was going on in the spirit realm around me, aware that there was a war horse that was doing war. The natural declares the spiritual, and the spiritual determines the natural. The natural declares the spiritual, and the spiritual determines the outcome of the natural. Scripture, when Elijah was with his servant, and the servant said, Master, they are more with us than they are with them. There were horses surrounding the mountain, and there were warriors surrounding the mountain. And the servant of Elijah was terrified. And Elijah prayed for the servant and said, Lord, open his eyes so he can see that there are more with us than it is with him. When the Lord opened his eyes, there were spiritual horses and spiritual soldiers surrounding the natural horses and the natural soldiers. So the natural horses and soldiers were going to lose because what had been set into place spiritually. This outcome, the spiritual always wins. It determines the outcome in the natural. So this war horse was there. He was fierce to look upon, but he wasn't coming to war against me. It was for the war that was going on around me. It's the war that's going on around us that this war horse has already been released. Symbolism. Remember, we're talking about symbols. One thing, if you see something in the natural that represents something in the spirit realm, a symbol, an emblem, something that represents something spiritual. It's a natural thing, horses, but it represented spiritually a war horse.
All right, life, here I come. Who is it? Who is it? It's Grief. Excuse me? I came to manage you since you didn't manage me, and this is gonna be fun.
Whatever.
What in the world? Who is it?
Hello, darling. It's Betrayal.
Betrayal?
How are you, Betrayal?
I don't want you.
Hey. Hey. I'm coming on the journey with you.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
you can't come with
Yes,
me.
thank
and
you.
I definitely don't want that one over there.
Oh, hey, how you doing? I didn't know you was going to be here. This
Oh.
is absolutely wonderful. Yes.
Who is it? Who is it? Hi, honey. Who are you?
I'm Deb.
Deaf.
This look good on me? You think
Oh
this
no,
look
I
good?
bind and rebuke you right now in the name of
Oh,
Jesus.
hush. I'm not here for
Hey.
you. I'm here for your family and your friends.
Hey, Deb. How are you?
Who are you? I am just in time. Hey, y'all!
I'm Cancer.
Oh no, no, you
Now,
definitely
wait a
can't.
minute.
Bye.
People don't invite
Bye,
me, but I
Felicia.
come anyway. I'm going to eat.
When are we leaving?
Yes, we need to leave.
I'm God. Don't worry. I'm coming with you. Let's journey together.
Wait.
Bye, Felicia.
Journey on.
What happened to you you on Sunday. What were you doing when your sight left you? What was happening in the natural? What happened in the spirit realm?
Well, Sunday during praise and worship, I was just up in a booth in praise and worship, and then my eyes started to.
Okay, and the key thing is praise and worship. If you notice that, praise is always a catalyst for the gifts. Praise done by a prophet is always a catalyst that opens the portals, opens the floodgates, opens the drops the veil in the spirit realm. So it heightens the spiritual activity so that you begin to see and experience things. It activates and releases in the atmosphere so that the battle is already set in array to win the battle spiritually. So it's praise when it does warfare, praise that brings the prophetic, praise that opens the eyes, that opens the ears, that activates the five senses. Praise will bring a song, praise will bring prophecy, tongues and interpretation. Praise is a catalyst for miracles, healing, signs and wonders. Praise puts a chokehold on the enemy. It silences the voices of the enemy. So it's a threat against our arch nemesis, the devil, who used to be a praise and worship leader. So it makes sense during praise.
I don't remember what song was going on, but I was sensing and seeing a whole lot. And then I opened up my eyes and I couldn't see. I felt like little dots. It was just hurting. It felt like little gnats were in my eyes, and this has happened before. Okay. So I was in a booth and I just could not see. It was really hurting.
So this was a physical attack that was coming to shut you down spiritually. In case you didn't know that, and for those listeners, that if I attack you physically, you'll stop looking into the spirit realm.
So I was able to make my way downstairs, but I could only see like through a slit as I was walking down the steps. And by the time I got to the ladies' room, I couldn't see at all.
I knew. Now, that took faith to leave the booth to go down the stairs. So undoubtedly you were operating out of faith and not out of fear, because fear would immediately make you scream out, guys, something is happening up in this booth. Whoa, stop this service. I need prayer. Everybody, all hands on deck. Run back here. I don't care what's going on. Faith says, I'll be all right. I can go down this, and it takes extreme faith to navigate those stairs. So it tells me without a shadow of a doubt, you're operating by the gift of faith.
So I got to the bathroom, and I don't even know who was in there. I was like, who was in here? And her name was Nikki. And I was like, can you help me? I can't see. And she got me to the sink, and I rinsed out my eyes, and then I was like this, looking for paper towels. And
okay, and I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you telling her, can you help me, and I can't see? Did it ever occur to you at any point to say, call my husband, call my children, call the pastor, call somebody?
No.
Why not?
Because I knew it was an attack on my sight, that the enemy didn't want me to see something. And I knew about because this has happened to me before in church during praise and worship. Okay. And I knew if I went downstairs and washed out my eyes, I would be okay.
So you were familiar with the attack, so you already knew by faith what the outcome would be. If I don't surrender to it. Okay.
So she helped me, and my eyes got better, and I thanked her, and I came back upstairs. And as soon as I hit the booth, I sat down, and I called her Demo. Demo was up here, and
which is my Dr-Rosier.
and she was saying that we needed someone to pray and basically hit heaven. And she said, JB, you. And I had just got to the booth from clearing out my eyes.
Okay. So what was hidden from you wasn't hidden from God. The enemy had some idea which way the service was headed. So it was designed to make sure that you were out of place at the time that heaven downloaded the thought to her, call JB to do what?
To pray and to see.
Okay. And she was calling for the gift, the prophetic intercession. Not just for anybody praying, not just for anybody seeing, but calling on the ascension gift, calling of a prophet, and calling on your gift of interceding prophetically.
So I ran down, and she gave me the mic, and I didn't even, I was unaware of that I was still in church when it was going on. And then I started to hear
what was going on.
When I was interceding and walking the grounds, it's like I just kept on getting downloads.
So that's what a trance does. You're unaware of your surroundings, and you're more aware of the vision and the meat of the vision, or what God is showing you in the spirit realm, and you're less aware of what's going on around you naturally. So you were experiencing a trance.
Yes, ma'am. Then I began to hear the music changed. And then when the music changed, it was like we went from here to here. You know, so I just flowed with it. I'm like, okay, this is great, this is wonderful, and I just flowed with it. And then I felt someone standing next to me. So I opened up my eyes were closed the whole entire time.
So now this is a twofold attack. It's not only attacking you to bully you, to shut you down, it is also an attack to make sure that what prophetic intercession would do for the congregation, that did not happen. So it was to rob the congregation of the next thing that the Lord wanted to do as well, that was going to happen through the gift.
So then I opened up my eyes to pass the mic to the person, but there was nobody standing there. I was like, oh, okay, I guess you're done, God. I just gave the mic back to Deborah.
Okay. And that presence, when the presence of the Lord shows up that way, and it feels as if there is a very person, or an angelic presence that feels like there is a person there, and you open your eyes and they're not there. There's actually there in the spirit realm, the presence of the Lord, or the angelic presence, is there for a reason that tells you when to step into the spirit realm and when to come out of the spirit realm. But it caught your attention in the right way.
The amazing part was, Deborah and I was talking about it after church. On my way to church, I was thinking, oh, this is such a nice day. I should just go to Lucky's Market and go shopping. And, you know, it's a beautiful day. We talk about using our gifts outside of church. Maybe God wants me to, like, literally.
And that's that rattlesnake. He didn't show his presence, but had you swallowed that, that was a deadly thought that was going to take away from you spiritually, to kill off a spiritual side, to set a pattern, that toxic poison. All I had to do is surrender to it, and I've been bitten. Go to Lucky Market, I've been struck. But I avoided that deadly thought, that rattlesnake, by coming on to church rather than go somewhere else. It's a lovely day, go shopping, do the different things. It's deadly because it's taken away from the prophet, it's taken away from that spiritual side, taken away from that deacon, taken away from that deacon, elder whenever she is, to the sides. Okay, taking away from that calling to have you out of place. So it's deadly in that if we're constantly surrendering to what the enemy's agenda is, that's deadly to that anointing and to our spiritual side of what God has planned for our life.
Yes, ma'am. So honestly, just the whole experience. After Deborah and I were talking about, it would be great to follow that up. Of course, we want to do that because we always want to be on the cutting edge of what God wants to do. But it was just, for me, it was amazing. It was like when I opened my eyes, I was like, oh, you guys are here? Okay. And I gave the mic back and went back up to the booth and sat down.
Like, an awesome
really
experience. You could just live there forever if you would allow it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is awesome.